Stalling, but up next is Thom the World Poet, and I know we have some musicians to accompany him, so it's like, okay, I'll do a little samba.
Good start, good start.
Here we go, it's his birthday today. Alright, so you're ready?
Yep, well, to explain what Tree's already told you, this is the day I was born, and everyone in the whole universe invited to a full English cafe at 6 to 9 because that's the time I was born. My mum didn't know because she was busy at the time, but she said around that time. So I had a very, very strict rule. I did not do poetry on the day I was born because it's a meditation for me. I wasn't there when I was born. It had nothing to do with me. I was there, but it wasn't me. But every year, it's me. I actually have to meditate on, age, death, decay, dissolution, dinosaur logic like that. So I cast aside anything apart from that. Now, the one thing you need to know about me is that I am wrong. Everything I've ever thought is wrong. Every poem I've ever uttered has to be used by date, has to be updated. So what happens this morning? I'm prepared to do the birthday clubs. So I'm signed up to 17 birthday clubs, which means that instead of poetry, I will go out to Denny's, IHOP, Denny's ice cream, and eat the universe. I will consume and be normal and just eat it. So I'm prepared for that. But life has an interesting way of showing something different because at 7:17 a.m. this morning, there's a helicopter hovering over my home in deep South Austin. And I'm wondering why they're making a movie, but it's sounding rather insistent, like a bee, like a drone. So I go outside, and sure enough, there's emergency, emergency, emergency down by the railroad tracks of South Austin. Now this has happened before, like everything I've ever said has happened before, but it really has happened before. But let me tell you why I did. I walked out, and I walked up to the bee buzzing hornet drones that live off our taxes, the EMS, 17 EMS people for one accident, like 17 APS officers for one parking ticket. But I digress. I walked towards the railway tracks, the train has stopped. The helicopter's still hovering and hovering, really close now, wanting to land, really wanting to land. Now it's 7:19 in the morning this morning, and I don't know what's going on. South Austin, we don't do this sort of thing. We don't like emergencies. It's the barrio. People speak Spanish and talk to each other. So I talk to my Spanish-speaking neighbor and say, what's going on? And no. So I walk up to the EMS and I say, what's going on? And they say, you better leave the area. Now, I don't like being told what to do, so I look closely and there's a gurney, and on the gurney there's a blue sheet, and under the blue sheet at the bottom there's a boot, and then they pull the blue sheet over the head of the person who is dead. Train wreck this morning. I have to rethink my meditation. Okay, I can change. So I've just come from a reading with Ebony Stewart at the what you call the O. Henry Museum, and what they're doing is starting the conversation about race in Austin. And there was one man there who worked for 17 years for the Austin Council, and he was saying, when I first came here in 1970, I married a black person, and the clergy person didn't want to marry us because the last one he did was run out of town by the APD. Like the black officers of APD were shot by their own white officers. That's not changed much, except occasionally there's an inquiry, but it's not changed much. And I'm there to hear the poet, because I think if it can't be put in poetry, it's not poetry. So there's Ebony Stewart, and she does 2 angelic poems about being a black girl who's beautiful in Austin, 2015. And then out comes the prose, the people wanting to talk about things. So I leave and come here. I wanted to say that my grandfather was he was a station master at Deakin. I wanted to tell you my father worked the trains. And he's seen shunters, that's the people who get the carriages together, hands crushed. My father on his 3rd DWI worked 2 jobs 24 hours a day. One of them was cleaning offices and the other was driving the train. I met a person who worked with him, and he said, I had a nervous breakdown working with your father. I said, why? Well, he slept on the job. Inviting a train wreck, which never happened. Now in the country before this, railways are a form of public transport. Here it's a boutique. It goes to Leander where no one wants to go. And hardly ever goes there anyway. But then, there were wrecks when floods came. And there were wrecks when drivers were asleep. And there were wrecks that were physical wrecks. But we're living in an age that's gone beyond physical, into metaphysical, into virtual. So when people talked about their emotional train wrecks, and they talked about their psychic train wrecks, and I told you about the train wreck that killed an unknown person this morning off Lansing in South Austin, which resonated with a homeless man who 7 years ago slept on the same tracks, and was the reason the trains now make loud noises as they come through South Austin. And the third was a Crockett High School student killed by the train because he had earphones on. And when I'm at IHOP, what do I see? An hour before this, a black man with earphones on who's about to walk out forgetting his smartphone is on the floor. What I'm saying is, if you don't want a train wreck, stay connected, stay conscious. We may not be able to stop them, but we can at least meditate.